Hello everyone, my name is Kara Yost and I am a student researcher for the project entitled At the Intersection of Art, Research, and Inclusion using Devised Theater as a Research Methodology to Explore Student Worldviews on Inclusion. For the past academic year, I have been doing research and analysis alongside two other student researchers, Tori Allen and Catherine Minton, and two faculty members, Marcia Hale and Sarah Hankins. And the project is being led by Dr. Lelania Harrington, who taught the class Devising Inclusion in a Global World as part of the research for the project. The purpose of this research is to explore inclusion in education in a way that's based on student perspectives, experiences, and devised theater work in class. This type of research approach is highly qualitative and differs greatly in process from most other kinds of research. Our main source of the data for analysis is the experience of the students in the class and the work we did devising pieces of theater around different themes brought about by inclusion in education. These theater pieces included a large amount of image work, which was often improvisational and in response to a prompt. We greatly utilized the exercise Cops in the Head as well, which were theatrical expressions of very personal statements that students had heard said to them before, and that related to their experience with exclusion and exclusion in education. These exercises and other similar exercises were part of the data that we recorded, and they helped to lead us to the key themes in our research. And here you can see some pictures of the image work that we did in class. For further research, we also participated in conceptual analysis, where we were given source material to go through and code, and we brought it back to class and discussed it. And it brought about really insightful dialogue and helped us to narrow down which concepts were really important to all of us. We then participated in thematic analysis, in which we used a whiteboard, and mind mapped our conversations to also help centralize the themes that were selected by the class as a whole to be in the final performance. Towards the end of the semester, we began to actually devise the script for the final performance, and it was an interactive and immersive experience that we put on, and it reflected all of our ideas and experiences with inclusion and exclusion in education. This was the most gratifying moment for me in the process of this class, to see it all come together. But the research wasn't over from there. After the class ended, the two student researchers and the two other student researchers, Dr. Harrington, the other faculty members on the project, and I began to analyze the data even further. We began to code the script from the final performance, the artist solicitations written by the students talking about their experience in the class, and some of the audience's feedback from the performance. We found lots of common themes in that data, as well as from the data from the class. Those themes included barriers to inclusion in education, such as financial limitations, physical abilities, expectations of normalcy, and othering of non-traditional families. There were common experiences as well, such as shame, despair, and loss while being excluded, and transformation, joy, and belonging while being included. We also derived a common vision for the future out of the data, which included love, vulnerability, willingness to be uncomfortable, and no labels or boundaries. Then we began to think about what impact this could have on teaching practice. We talked about decolonizing the classroom, which would essentially mean to change the way we go about typically teaching and the environment and expectation for the students. In theory, we could do this by providing more experiential and embodied learning, reciprocal power sharing, co-creation of knowledge, collective reliance and responsibility. and value for lived experience and knowledge. In doing this, we could make the current learning environment for students into a community for students. We could then move towards interclusivity versus inclusion. This is because inclusion implies there's already a group to be included into. The end goal would be not to have that group to begin with. Interclusivity is a term that embodies this idea. It represents a state of radical connectedness between different bodies and minds in reference to their location amongst each other, institutions, government, nature, social norms, etc. It values reciprocity and interdependence, mutual vulnerability, multiplicity, and reflects an ever-changing negotiation and centering of lived experiences. Thank you.